Hello, my name is Jiso, and I am reading Master Dōgen's Shōbōgenzō. And we're just about to start book 2 of the Nishijima Cross Edition, chapter 22, Bussho, the Buddha Nature. Butsu means Buddha and Sho means nature, so Bussho means Buddha nature. The Chinese characters read in Japanese as Bussho represent the meaning of the Sanskrit word Bhadatta, or Buddha nature. This was usually understood as the potential we have to attain the truth, or as something which we have inherently and which grows naturally day by day. But Master Dōgen was not satisfied by such interpretations. In his view, the Buddha nature is neither a potential nor a natural attribute, but a state or condition of body and mind at a present moment. Therefore, he saw the Buddha nature neither as something that we might realize in the future, nor as something that we have inherently in our body and mind. From this standpoint, Master Dōgen affirmed and at the same time denied the proposition, we all have Buddha nature. He also affirmed and at the same time denied the proposition, we all don't have Buddha nature. At first sight, these views appear contradictory, but through his dialectic explanation of the Buddha nature in this chapter, Master Dōgen succeeded in interpreting the concept of the Buddha nature from the standpoint of reality. Let's get into it. Shakyamuni Buddha says, all living beings totally have the Buddha nature. The Tathagata abides in them constantly without changing at all. This is the turning of the Dharma wheel as a lion's roar of our great master Shakyamuni. At the same time, it is the brains and eyes of all the Buddhas and all the patriarchs. It has been learned in practice for 2,190 years, it now being the second year of the Japanese era of Ninji. Through barely 50 generations of rightful successors until the late Master Tendo Nyoji. 28 patriarchs in India have dwelt in it and maintained it from one generation to the next. 23 patriarchs in China have dwelt in it and maintained it from one age to the next. The Buddhist patriarchs in the 10 directions have each dwelt in it and maintained it. What is the point of the world-honored one's words that all living beings totally exist as the Buddha nature? It is the words, this is something ineffable coming like this, turning the Dharma wheel. Those called living beings, or called sentient, or called all forms of life, or called all creatures, are living beings and are all forms of existence. In short, total existence is the Buddha nature, and the perfect totality of total existence is called living beings. At just this moment, the inside and outside of living beings are the total existence of the Buddha nature. The state is more than only the skin, flesh, bones and marrow that are transmitted one to one, because you have got my skin, flesh, bones and marrow. Remember, the existence described now, which is totally possessed by the Buddha nature, is beyond the existence of existence and non-existence. Total existence is the Buddha's words, the Buddha's tongue, the Buddhist patriarch's eyes, and the nostrils of a patched-robed monk. The words total existence are utterly beyond beginning existence, beyond original existence, beyond fine existence, and so on. How much less could they describe conditioned existence or illusory existence? They are not connected with mind and circumstances, or with essence and form and the like. This being so, object and subject as living beings and total existence is completely beyond ability based on karmic accumulation, beyond the random occurrence of circumstances, beyond accordance with the Dharma, and beyond mystical powers and practice and experience. If the total existence of living beings were ability based on karmic accumulation, were the random occurrence of circumstances, were accordance with the Dharma, and so on, then the saint's experience of the truth, the Buddha's state of Bodhi, and the Buddhist patriarch's eyes would also be ability based on karmic accumulation, the occurrence of circumstances, and accordance with the Dharma. That is not so. The whole universe is utterly without objective molecules. Here and now there is no second person at all. At the same time, no person has ever recognized the direct cutting of the root, for when does the busy movement of karmic consciousness ever cease? Total existence is beyond existence that arises through random circumstances. For the entire universe has never been hidden. The entire universe has never been hidden. Sorry, start that again. Total existence is beyond existence that arises through random circumstances. For the entire universe has never been hidden. The entire universe has never been hidden does not necessarily mean that the substantial world is existence itself. At the same time, the entire universe is my possession is the wrong view of non-Buddhists. Total existence is beyond originally existing existence, for it pervades the eternal past and pervades the eternal present. It is beyond newly appearing existence, for it does not accept a single molecule. It is beyond separate instances of existence, for it is inclusive perception. It is beyond the existence of beginningless existence, for it is something ineffable coming like this. It is beyond the existence of newly arising existence, for the everyday mind is the truth. Remember, in the midst of total existence, it is difficult for living beings to meet easy convenience. When understanding of total existence is like this, total existence is the state of penetrating to the substance and getting free. Hearing the word Buddha nature, many students have understood it to be like the self described by the non-Buddhist Seneca. This is because they do not meet people, they do not meet themselves, and they do not meet with a teacher. They vacantly consider mind, will, or consciousness, which is the movement of wind and fire, to be the Buddha nature's enlightened knowing and enlightened understanding. Who has ever said that enlightened knowing and enlightened understanding are present in the Buddha nature? Those who realize enlightenment, those who know, are Buddhas. Those who realize enlightenment, those who know, are Buddhas, but the Buddha nature is beyond enlightened knowing and enlightened understanding. Okay, so that's the answer to that question, isn't it? Who has ever said that enlightened knowing and enlightened understanding are present in the Buddha nature? Those who realize enlightenment, those who know, are Buddhas. But the Buddha nature is beyond enlightened knowing and enlightened understanding. Moreover, in describing the Buddhas as those who realize and those who know, we are not describing the wrong views randomly expressed by those others as realization and knowing, and we are not describing the movement of wind and fire as realization and knowing. One or two concrete manifestations of a Buddha or concrete manifestations of a patriarch are just realization and knowing. For many ages, venerable predecessors have been to India and back and have instructed human beings and gods. From the Han to the Sung dynasties, they have been as numerous as rice plants, flax plants, bamboo, and reeds. And many of them have considered the movement of wind and fire to be the knowing and realization of the Buddha nature. It is pitiful that, because their pursuit of the truth became further and further removed, they are guilty of this error. Later students and beginners in Buddhism today should not be like that. We learn realization and knowing, but realization and knowing are beyond movement. We learn movement, but movement is not a state like this. If we are able to understand real movement, we will be able to understand real knowing and understanding. Buddha and nature have arrived at that place and have arrived at this place. The Buddha nature is always total existence, for total existence is the Buddha nature. Total existence is not smashed into hundreds of bits and pieces, and total existence is not a single rail of iron. Because it is the holding up of a fist, it is beyond large and small. What already has been called the Buddha nature should not be equated with saints and should not be equated with the Buddha nature. But there is one group which thinks as follows. The Buddha nature is like the seed of a plant or tree. As the rain of Dharma waters it again and again, its buds and sprouts begin to grow. Its buds and sprouts begin to grow. Then twigs, leaves, flowers and fruit abound, and the fruit once more bears seeds. End of italics. Views like this are the sentimental thinking of the common man. If we do hold such views, we should investigate that seeds and flowers and fruits are all separate instances of the naked mind. In fruits there are seeds. The seeds, though unseen, produce roots, stalks, and so on. Though they do not gather anything to themselves, they grow into a profusion of twigs, branches, and trunks. They are beyond discussion of inside and outside, and in time, past and present, they are not void. Thus, even if we rely on the view of the common man, roots, stalks, branches, and leaves may all be the Buddha nature, which is born with them, which dies with them, and which is just the same as their total existence. Thank you for listening.